In this episode, Sasha and Keoni figure out when each form of the equation for a parabola is most useful.
So can you circle the two equations that you have?
We have this equation and we have this equation.
What do you think of them? How are they alike? How are they different? When would you use one versus the other?
So on this one, you're using it when you have your y, because then your b is already separate from it. So you don't have to move anything around. It's just you multiply whatever your y is by the 4, take the square root of it, and then you have your b or your x, whichever one you use. And then on this side, you'd use it to find your y because it's on by itself. So you would just plug in whatever you have for b, square it, divide it by 4, and you have your y.
What do you think about that?
I agree with.
You do? You agree?
Well, for this equation, you can use it if you have your x, or your b or your y.
Mm-hmm. How about the other one?
This would seem harder to use if you didn't know what your b was, but you still know what your y was.
Sasha and Keoni have noticed some differences in the two forms of the equation for a parabola. In one form, b is by itself, and in the other form, y is by itself. Next, they decide which form of the equation to use in different situations.
Suppose I want you to tell me what the y value of a point is on the parabola when b is 2.5.
Okay, so b equals 2.5. Which one do you want to use? This one? Okay. So we'll say 2.5 equals the square root of 4y. Square. 6.25 equals 4y. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Y equals 1.6.
What?
562.
Sasha, Keoni, do you think that was the easier one to use?
Yes.
You would have chosen the same one as Sasha.
Yeah.
All right, try the other one. I just want you to see if you think it's easier or harder.
Your turn. That's on your side of the board.
Okay. Okay. So when b equals 2.5, I have 2.5 squared over 4 equals y. Our 2.5 squared was 6.25 over 4. And then we'll just divide it and we get 1.6 equals y.
So do you think one is easier or do you think they're equally easy?
I like this side more.
Which one?
This equation seemed to work faster.
Because since they gave us our b and our y was already apart from it, then you had to do one less step.
So are you agreeing with him now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I like this side first. You just wanted to do this one first.
Okay, so you both think this one is easier on the left if you're given the b.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Because when you're finding your y, you want it to be separate from everything else, and in this equation already is, and in this one you have to do an extra step to get y on its own.
Okay. Which equation would you use to find the b value of a point on the parabola when y is 15?
All right, when y equals 15. So since they're giving us our y, we're just going to keep it on this side because you're looking for your b and you want it by itself. So you're going to say b equals the square root of 4 times 15. Oops, what was it? 7.7 or 7.8?
7.7.
That was really fast.
That was.
So I want you to compare these two equations. What's alike and what's different?
Our equation here is easier to use when you have your b, whereas the equation here is easier to use once you have your y.
Do you agree with them?
I do, but they can both be used vice versa.
So could you use the one on the left to find the value of b when y is 15?
Yes.
How would you do it?
Your turn.
So we have our b squared, 4 equals 15. And then we would
Times by 4.
multiply both sides by 4. And just square root both sides. B equals square root of 60. Look it up.
You just did it. What's this?
All right. 7.7.
Excellent. Anything else you notice about the two equations?
If we use this equation to find the b when we have our y, it takes longer.
Mm-hmm. Any other
Because-
similarities or differences in the two equations?
Well, this one's only like one step, and that one you have to do two. So yeah, this one would be the shortcut when you're trying to find your b, and that's the shortcut if you want to find your y.
Sasha and Keoni have figured out something important. Because y is by itself in the equation y equals b squared divided by 4, this form is easier to use when you are given a b value for a point on the parabola. Because b is by itself in the equation b equals the square root of 4 times y, this form of the equation is easier to use when you are given a y value. But, as Sasha points out, both forms of the equation can be used whether you are given a b value or a y value. It's just that it takes fewer steps to use this form of the equation when you are given a b value, and it takes fewer steps to use the other form of the equation if you are given the y value of a point on the parabola.